Hi guys, so welcome to Art and Design week 4. Woohoo! You guys are at lesson 4 now. So what we'll be doing today is we are going to be drawing silhouettes. So if you read the description a bit, you'll get to know what it kind of is already before I explain anything. But I'm going to go through it a little bit more during this class activity. Okay? So what we need today is you guys can use a super thick marker pen, a small pen if you want to start, but I would really suggest a thick marker because we're going to be using quite a lot of space. So meaning like if you were to color with this, it's going to take you 10 years, but with this, maybe 10 minutes. So yeah, and if you prefer to use paint, go ahead. So this one that I have is a poster paint. So poster paints are quite easy to use. I'll explain more about painting and stuff maybe later on, but for now I'm just going to use a black because silhouettes are actually just black. Yeah, so if you read on the description, basically a silhouette is the outer shape of an object. So imagine this, but it's totally black, meaning like the whole shape is black. So that would be, we're only going to be looking at the outer shape. So a silhouette of this will be something like this. Let me just go for it fast, okay? So that I can show you what I mean. So silhouettes doesn't actually have to just be objects. They could be people, they could be your hand, it could be faces. So there's some references in the resource link, so you guys can have a look at it. Basically, it's just the outer shape of something. And it's usually without details on the inside. So yeah, there's lots of details here, like, oh, this one says Watson and this one says like supplement facts and stuff like that. And normally when we draw, we'll like to add on those details like blah blah blah. I'm gonna write in so it looks more like this object. But for silhouettes, we're trying to focus just on the shape. So shape is very important in life. So sometimes you can even recognize your friend like, hey, that's like John, isn't it? Because you can recognize the shape of a person. So silhouettes are really, really important. And if you guys want to be artists in the future, or you're interested in like characters and stuff like that, the shape of each character is very important because they're supposed to be very distinct, meaning like they stand out so that when you see them on TV, you're like, hey, that's that character. So yeah, that's an important thing in art, okay? So we'll be covering silhouette today. So what happens is that this should be filled in black. I'm gonna use my marker because it's a lot easier, trust me guys. If you're gonna use it with your pen, it might take forever. So the shape that I did first is pretty simple, but for you guys, I would strongly suggest that you guys take a more complicated shape, because when you draw simple shapes like this, I'm just giving you an example. When you draw simple shapes like this, it could be anything. So people could look at it and be like, what is that? Is that just a tube, or is that like, I don't know, like film? So they don't know what it is, right? Because the whole point of a silhouette is actually a distinctive outer shape. So you're actually relying on the outside to represent the whole thing. So meaning like, I'm gonna take this for example. This is more complicated, okay? So I'm gonna be drawing this because when you look at this shape, it's gonna look like a perfume bottle, because usually this kind of shape isn't just some random paint, or isn't some like it's not light, or it's not pens. Of course you'll recognize it because we're so familiar with shapes around us that we'll instantly, our brain is smart enough to tell us, hey, that looks like maybe a perfume bottle, maybe it's a drink, maybe, but basically you'll get a better understanding of the shape. If they're all simple shapes, they're a lot harder to tell. So let's just say like, not this one, but what if I just draw a square, right? So no one really knows that this is going to be putty eraser. They could just be like, oh, it's just a square, what is it? So yeah, the whole point is, for this whole exercise, you're supposed to draw two non-living things, meaning this is not living, this is not living, but try to find a more complicated shape so that from a glance people can be like, oh, I know what that is. Or you can even draw humans. So if you look at your reflection to draw it, you can do it. So Sometimes people do stuff like silhouettes of people. It's a very popular drawing thing. So there's a lot of art for silhouettes. So let's just say this is the shape, right? And usually you'll add in the details and stuff like that. And let's add a ribbon because it's fun. But silhouettes don't have anything like that. So we're gonna actually be coloring it in. So I'm gonna use my paint so that I can show you guys. For paint, right, poster paint, it needs a little bit of water. So I'm dipping in some water as well. I'm not just using directly, because when it's direct, it's a bit too thick and so it doesn't spread easily. So I'm just gonna color it, and you can tell, at first you can definitely tell this is a girl who is smiling. But what if I color it in? So when we color it in, the details in the center start to fade, and so you don't really know if she's smiling or if she's not smiling, or maybe she's just an angry girl, or you don't know whether she's pretty or ugly, or whether she has a mole on her eye, or whether she has big eyes or small eyes. You just look at it as a shape, and so all you will know is basically that this kind of looks like a girl. So all you need to do is you add in some extra stuff, like so now you can kind of tell, like, oh, maybe that's a person or maybe it's not. So these are silhouettes. Okay, so one thing to differentiate silhouettes from shadows is because sometimes we misunderstand and we are thinking that, oh, maybe they're shadows, so this is my light that I have. So shadows cast from light, you see. So it's not exactly the shape of this, it's just the light projecting it. So this is not a silhouette, this is just a shadow. So they are different. Silhouettes means the whole shape, so meaning like this, but covered all in black. So the main point of silhouettes is that you don't see any detail. And I know some of you guys will definitely enjoy this because details are one of the most tedious things when you're drawing, because you're trying to think of like, oh, okay, I gotta make sure that it looks like this. So I'm gonna add this, I'm gonna add that mustache, I'm gonna make sure that that person has a double eyelid because I think that person has a double eyelid. So for silhouettes this week, it's gonna be light and breezy. You don't have to do stuff like that. You just need to focus on the outer shape. And one of my main focus which I mentioned just now, is make sure that your shape is accurate. So once again, looking at your reference, you're looking around you this time. You're going to try to make sure that the shape you got is the same shape as what you are drawing. So make sure you see those small bumps, and I'm going to draw directly with pen, but you guys can draw with pencil first, and then when you think you got the shape right, then you color it in. Okay, so for me, I usually just draw the outline of the shape immediately, but I'm going to show you guys that you can actually just craft it out like this as well. So using simple shapes, and after you've got this, after I've created this already, so it's in the same shape, right? So after this, then I can fill it all in black. So if I were to fill it all in black, no one can tell any of these lines existed in the middle anyway. So even if you make mistakes and you're drawing with pen, it's okay. You're going to cover it up anyway because we're going to draw it in black in the end. So this is one of those lessons where you gotta learn to just let go. Even if you make mistakes, it's okay, but you must try to make it better the next round. There's no such thing as, oh, I'm going to redo it, but I just want to be perfect, so I'm not gonna give up until it's perfect. The more practice, the better. So even if it's not beautiful, it's fine. You done it, so you did a good job. So I'm gonna color it, and make sure if you guys are using Sharpie or those alcohol markers, like mine is an alcohol marker, it smells a bit, so make sure that there's a fan on, because or else it gets really stinky and it's not really good for you if you smell too much of it. Okay, so just a warning in case. So this will definitely look more like a perfume case than anything else because of the shape. It's so iconic. Yeah, or it could be maybe a bath soap or shower gel, but yeah. So today what you guys are going to be doing for the week is actually 3 silhouette drawings. So I would like you guys to do 2 non-living. So this means that any object is fine. Okay, and please don't start by telling me that you guys want to draw your phone when the phone is just a rectangle. It could be anything. So try to pick something more complicated, guys. And also 1 living. So 1 living doesn't mean that it has to be a person. It could be plants. They are still living. And plants have a very nice silhouette. It's really hard, but when you get it done, it looks really, really pretty. So that's plants, or you could draw your animal. It could be, or maybe you can draw your sister or brother, or your mom or your dad. So usually for people, they like to draw the side profiles, because this makes it easier to tell who they are or what they're doing. So, or you can even draw yourself. So have fun doing this silhouette. It's pretty simple, and remember to always focus on the outer shape, especially the small bumps. Look at it. You can miss it if you want, but you should add it in. You see this small ridge here? So if I didn't add this, it would just be 1 lump, and when you add it into 1 lump, it becomes less like what you're drawing. So have fun for this week, guys, and I'll see you guys next week. Good luck.